Hi, hello, and welcome to episode 3 of the Sal Licata Show podcast. And I must warn Nick fans, today is not going to be a pleasant episode. I've been sitting on this for a while. Obviously, BT and I, last did a show together on the fan on December 12th, and then I didn't start up this podcast until last week. So I haven't really given much opinion on the Knicks. And there was some, if you go back a month ago, it was, oh, Sal, how could you ever call him Mike Clown? You idiot. He's not a clown. He's going to lead him to the promised land. And now, all of a sudden, those mentions have quieted down. So I don't want you to think I'm just jumping in to say, ha, I told you so, this guy's a clown. I'll say that, but that's not why we're doing this podcast today. As a matter of fact, I was planning on doing a Knicks topic today anyway for episode 3. But then, I knew the Knicks were playing, and I know they've been a story over the weekend the way that they've been going here. Knicks have lost now 9 of 11 basketball games in a major rut. But I did not anticipate that they were going to get their rear ends kicked by the Mavericks at home on MLK Day. And there are many reasons for why the Knicks just flat out aren't good enough. Now, even with that being said, they're still third in the Eastern Conference. They're still going to have a chance to go out there and compete legitimately for a championship. I never thought they were a championship team. I've said that from the beginning, anytime we talked about this team, especially after they let Tom Thibodeau go. But really, it comes down to the players. Did you really think, if you strip away your fandom, Knick fans, I'm asking you to do something very difficult. And really, all fans, I'm asking you to do this. Like, this is what I've always done, and some fans don't do it. It's like if you say something about their team in a negative way, it's like you insulted their mother or their family. But if you detach yourself from your Knick fandom and watch what you saw last year with Karl Anthony Towns, and then watch it again this year, and I know a lot of you do this anyway, but some of you don't, deep down, they're just not good enough. He's not good enough. Him and Brunson can't be the two best players on the team. And while the Knicks, this is the most talented roster that I've ever seen from a Knicks team in my entire life, and while it's still, even at their worst, can be a very good, highly competitive team in the Eastern Conference, it's just not good enough, and it never will be good enough, whether it was Tom Thibodeau or Mike Clown, to be a legitimate championship team because of Karl Anthony Towns. And it's not to make him the whipping boy and pick on Karl Anthony Towns. He's a fine player. He's just not the right guy for this group. I mean, obviously, he failed in Minnesota as well, as far as getting that team over the hump to become a championship team. And a guy that's as skilled as he is for a big man and the way that he shoots, you should be able to go further than where he's gone in his career. Part of why I thought the Knicks were moving on from Tom Thibodeau and hiring Mike Brown was to maybe unlock a different level of Karl Anthony Towns' game or use him in a different way. I talked about this a lot last year throughout the course of the year with BT, that I think Karl Anthony Towns is better playing on the perimeter, and the Knicks didn't do that enough with Tom Thibodeau, and they're not doing it again now with Mike Clown. As a matter of fact, there's even more of a clash, it seems, with Cat not knowing how to fit into this new system. None of it makes any sense. It should not be this difficult when you have that much talent. But Karl Anthony Towns, and forget even about the system, like, he's out of control when he goes to the basket, leads the league in offensive fouls, kicking guys in the nuts left and right, punching guys in the nuts left and right. It just can't happen. You need body control. You need to be under some kind of control when you're playing either under the rim like that or just in general. With even he does it on the perimeter. Obviously, you saw that in the game against the Mavericks, kicking out his leg there, kicking a guy in the nuts. But it's not just him. To me, that's the biggest issue. If somebody were to say, well, Sal, why do you think the Knicks aren't a championship team? I would say, well, first, because Karl Anthony Towns is not the right player for Jalen Brunson. They're going to need somebody better than that. The other part of it would be they don't play enough defense. And I know that in today's NBA, you don't need the defense like you did back in the 90s, which is my favorite time to watch basketball, even though they weren't as skilled and certainly the scores were nowhere near what they are now. You do need to defend, and the Knicks just don't do that and really haven't done that. They haven't played consistent high-end defense since the first year of Tibbs, in my opinion. That was the year that they went to the COVID year, the shortened year, where they were the 4th seed in the Eastern Conference with Reggie Bullock leading the way. I mean, it was Julius Randle, Reggie Bullock, Elfrid Payton, the Nerlens Noel. I mean, those were the Taj Gibson. That team played a very physical brand of basketball, hard-nosed basketball, smart basketball, a team that we as Knicks fans and New Yorkers were very proud of, even though the way that they got bounced in the first round by the Hawks still upsets me. That team was the last time I was like, okay, well, they're building the foundation with that defense. And then from there, you have to sacrifice, right? To get rid of, you want, clearly they needed more scoring. They had none of it. It was Randall and bust. So to bring in more scoring, which they did over the years, they needed to sacrifice some of that defense. And it slowly started to chip away a little bit. And then even to a point last year where Tibbs, who is a defense-first coach, had no choice but to kind of transition a little bit and to build the team the best that he could around the players that he had, specifically Karl-Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson, who just are not good defensive players. And that will never change. Brunson plays his ass off. He's great. I wouldn't trade him for anybody. I love him. He's my favorite Knick, and maybe not of all time, but I love everything that he's about. Representing the city, his leadership, his competitiveness, the intangibles. I love him. 3-time All-Star now, starting the game again, the All-Star game. If you're into that, I don't really care about that, but he's everything that I wish Carmelo Anthony was. And Anthony had a bigger body, and the game came easier for him. A much more skilled player. Brunson, obviously, with the angles and the footwork, we know all about that. But there are some things that are lacking. And when you talk about defense, having him and Cat on the floor together, it's a problem. I was talking to somebody the other day, and they were saying that the only thing that makes the Knicks now a potential threat to either get to the championship or a possible team to win the championship is the elite offensive rebounding skills of one Mitchell Robinson. Think about that, though. And I love Mitch. I know BT and I used to have this fight all the time about Mitchell Robinson versus Hartenstein. I always love Mitch because he is great at what he does. Sure, he's limited offensively, and that's being kind, but he's great at what he does, rebounding the basketball, defensively, all those different things. But he can't be one of the primary reasons that the Knicks could win a title. Yes, as a third or fourth, whatever, piece there, as a piece to a championship team, sure. But it should be about the stars on the team. And I think you could still fairly question how great Brunson is. Like, he's great, but is he an individual star, superstar player that could lift his team the way that maybe Cade Cunningham can do, the way that we've seen, Giannis do? Pick a guy, SGA. Again, I'm not saying that the Thunder don't have a great team, because they do, but you know what I'm talking about. To overcome certain things throughout the course of a postseason series, can Brunson be that guy to carry the Knicks on his back to the NBA Finals and then in the NBA Finals? And until he actually does it, I think that it would be fair to at least question that. When you combine him with Karl-Anthony Towns, that's where you have the issue, because now both those guys are question marks. And there was a thought early on that, just ride it out. And I myself was torn with this. The thought of Giannis. Would you break this group up, especially when they were at their peak? Everybody's thinking, I don't know. I'm not going to do it. Just roll with this. The same way that I would have liked to have rolled it back with Julius Randle when healthy and see what he could have done. Because when the Knicks first made the trade with Barrett and Quickly and getting OG Anunoby in here, and Randall was here with that group and healthy, that was their peak. They have not been as good as they were when that was the case. Right after the trade with Toronto to bring in OG, with a healthy Randall, healthy Brunson, they were on top of the NBA world at that moment. Randall got hurt, everything changed. And then from there, they changed the entire look of the team. And I just don't think that it's good enough. So there are many reasons for it, but specifically their stars, and more specifically Karl-Anthony Towns, I think are lacking the ability to carry a team to a championship, whether it's individually or collectively with those two, Brunson and Cat. Now, that was obvious to me, and I think many people a year ago. But it's a lot easier to change the head coach than it is to change a superstar player. So even though we knew it was necessary, we also knew that it was unlikely. So what do the Knicks do? They fire the one guy that built this thing the right way, the hard way. And now, and this is the fun part for me, because I get to clown on Mike Clown here. Mike Clown. Now you can not only question the, I don't want to say core of the team, but question Karl-Anthony Towns and his fit. I think right now, if you ask any Knick fan, they'd be saying, he's got to go. End of story. Enough of Karl Anthony Towns. Let's move on. Obviously Giannis, but figure it out. It's not Cat. And I would agree with that. But there's another question now in play that, in my opinion, wasn't there. You guys could bring it up and say, well, Tibbs, he's not the guy to bring them over the top, as if he were the reason that the Knicks didn't win the NBA Finals last year. It wasn't Cat, wasn't Bridges, wasn't the fact that they had zero bench. It was Tibbs. And Tibbs is a guy who's going to build the team, a program builder, but he can only take you so far. The owner said it. And by the way, since the owner ran his mouth on WFAN, the Knicks have been in the gutter. You can't be lower than the Knicks. Losers of 9 of 11 games. He talks championship. They go in the tank. But he also said that they didn't think, and maybe he, instead of saying they, maybe he, I should be more specific, Dolan did not think that Tibbs could get them to the next level. And they end up with Mike Brown. That's the answer. So now, when you see a team with this much talent, losing and getting their asses kicked in the process, losing 9 of 11 basketball games in largely non-competitive games, I think you have to question whether this guy could get them out of it or not. So it's not just about the talent and that mix, which I think is the ultimate thing that will prevent them from being a championship team. But now I think you have to question, can this guy even dig him out of it? Does he know what he's doing? My answer is no. He doesn't know what he's doing. And he's a nice guy. And I'm not saying he's an awful coach. Nice guy, but I think that's part of the problem, that he's too nice of a guy and maybe too afraid to be hard on these guys legitimately. Do they even take him seriously? We heard from former players of Mike Brown saying that they don't. And even if they did initially, they don't eventually. And when I say clown, it's not meant to be a disrespectful, derogatory thing, but Mike Brown does a lot of clowning around with the media and laughing and ha-ha and joking and this and that. And to me, that is, while it's fun and maybe entertaining to some people, that's not what you want from a leader of your basketball team, especially in New York City. That stuff may play elsewhere, not here, not with the Knicks. Give me Tibbs, the Van Gundy disciple, the Pat Riley disciples. That's what I want. And they had that. I know that if Tom Thibodeau were here, I would trust them to figure this out and get out of it. Not to a championship level, because I just think ultimately the players aren't good enough. This roster is better than what Tibbs had to work with last year, and now they're using the excuse of the stupid NBA Cup. Come on, the NBA Cup tired them out? They went too hard for the NBA Cup? Whose fault is that? Come on, give me a break. What about did the Knicks ever look tired with Tibbs and everybody made that excuse in the postseason? Those guys played their ass off every single night through on into the postseason until the wheels were falling off with injury. And Tibbs got blamed for the minute stuff. And now it's, well, they went a little too hard with the NBA Cup. Oh my God. Guys, please come back to me. So ask yourself, do you think the Knicks are good enough defensively? Do you think the Knicks are good enough shooting the three? Do you think the Knicks stars are good enough to be champion, as currently constructed, good enough to be championship level? And do you think the head coach is good enough to maximize all of that and really not even maximize that, take them to another level? Definitively, for me, it is a big, fat no. Like Hulk Hogan when he was asked by the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, about buying the championship. DiBiase had an offer. Everybody's got a price. And then they, me and Gene up on stage asking him, Hulkster, what's it going to be? What's it going to be? Are you going to sell your paraphrasing, sell the championship to the $1 Million Man? Hell no. That would be my answer if you ask me, are the Knicks a championship team? And don't get it twisted and don't move the goalpost. It is, and the owner said it, championship or bust. That's the one thing I agree with him. Championship or bust. You fire a head coach that's won as much as Tibbs did, that built this god-awful team who was bad for 2 decades, built them back up to relevancy, consistent success. You fire him, you better get somebody that's going to get you over the hump. Like maybe the 15 guys the Knicks tried to hire before they ended up with Mike Clown. Mazzulla and whoever the hell else, I forget at this point, all the greatest coaches in the league there. You know, Jay Kidd obviously was one of the names, but all those guys, right on down the list. And they end up on Mike Brown. Come on, dude. Come on. So it's bad. Now, with all that being said, I'm still not giving up on the hope of the Knicks, not just because of, well, you're a Knicks fan. How could you give up? Though that has nothing to do with it. It's more about they still have talent. They still could change the look of this team come trade deadline. I do get the feeling, this is not based on any intel or anything like that. Oh, I could give you some intel. I'll give you a little note right here, a little nugget. Mark this one, bada booms. A little nugget here. And maybe this is public, I don't know, but I haven't heard it before. I don't believe everybody on the coaching staff, that's the way I'll say it, and I've heard from multiple sources. I don't believe everybody on the coaching staff is big fans of Karl Anthony Towns and Mikal Bridges. Now, does that mean that they're going to get traded for Giannis? I have no idea. Does that mean they're going to get traded, period? I don't know. But I do believe that that is true, being that I heard from two different places that not everybody on that staff are the biggest fans of Cat and Bridges. And I also think, and this is just common sense, you know, taking the reports that have been out there and trying to do the math and use a little common sense, I also do believe that Giannis wants to be traded and probably prefers the Knicks. I think there's enough smoke there to put the 2 and 2 together. And I think that's what's necessary. Now, if the Knicks get Giannis, I don't care who the head coach is. I mean, I do, but that matters a lot less if you have Giannis and Brunson together. And then they need to figure that out. I also think that they need to improve the shooting significantly. The question would become, okay, well, who goes for Giannis? And then are they going to have either enough shooting left or the ability to bring in more shooting? Because I could argue that I think the Knicks need as good of shooters as they have at times. It's way, way, way too inconsistent. Way too inconsistent. Can't happen. It can't just be, well, they're on, they're going to win by 30. Well, they're off, they're going to lose by 30. That, to me, is not good enough for success in the postseason. So I think they need to improve the consistency in shooting. But all those things are still there for the Knicks. It's not like it was years ago where they had no hope. There is real legitimate reason to hope that they can turn this thing around. I just don't believe in Cat, and I certainly don't believe in Mike Clown. Where are the comments now? Get at me with that. All right, let's get into another topic here. Is obviously we start with the Knicks. And one last thing before we transition away from the Knicks. I had a note here. I barely can see with my eyes the way that they are, but on my glasses. And I've said this before, but I'm going to say it again. Enough with the Reggie Miller stuff. Enough. Every time he was doing the game for NBC with Tirico. Tirico's great. And NBC, I love the NBA on NBC. Love the theme song. And I actually like Reggie as a broadcaster. And I don't even care about what he did to the Knicks and how I hated Reggie. Just enough. It's played. The Reggie, Tirico all night long. Oh, in this building and Spike Lee. Like, dude, it's been played for 30 years. It's been played for 30 years. Good God. You know, I texted Reggie last year. Texted Reggie trying to get him on the show and said something of the sort, this is before the Knicks-Pacers series. Something, you probably, if you listen to the show, you heard me say this before. Something of the sort like, hey, Reggie, Sal Licata, WFAN, love to get you on the show. Starks own you. Starks own that ass. I was figuring like, all right, real respect's real. I'm real, Reggie. I'm New York. You're right. We can't stand you. I want you on the show, and I'm going to let you know that I'm a Starks guy. And he owned you. Headbutt and all. And Reggie never responded back. He didn't want any of this smoke. And then, of course, the Knicks go out there and get blasted by the Pacers, make me look like an idiot in the process. Because then I'm thinking this whole time, like, maybe Reggie was going to come on. Maybe he wasn't. Maybe he ignored me. Maybe he was waiting. And then I was thinking, well, he saw it. At least he saw the text. And then he's probably laughing, thinking, this sucker in New York thinks the Knicks own the Pacers. Come on. And knowing that it made me sick to lose to the damn Pacers again. But anyway, my whole point of that was Reggie is great on NBC, great with Tirico. Okay, good. I don't need to constantly hear about. We all know it. Okay, it happened. It's 30 years old. Reggie is irrelevant in the Garden right now. It's long gone. I bet you Bada Booms doesn't even remember. Bada Booms, you paying attention? You remember? You're only 22. You remember the Reggie Miller thing? I mean, what year were you born again? What year were you born? '03. Right. '03. How do you remember that? Just to give you an update on Bada Booms, we'll get to him maybe a little bit later on, but I sent him some equipment because I got a lot of complaints. His mic wasn't right and all that stuff. So sent him some equipment. He'll have it for the next recording. So we're going to limit his interaction today. Plus, he's all nervous about the Canes and wants to get all into that. And he's really off the wall. I'm lucky I have him here to help me record this the way that his mind is set right now with Miami and the championship game. Anyway, topic number 2. The divisional round was great, wasn't it? And it's not just about the results. And I took a beating on the results, although I did end up winning money. It just goes to show you can have the wrong picks and still win some money with the way that it is now, betting props and all that stuff. But you had a highly competitive game. I thought that game should have been the one of the night games, at least Saturday night or Sunday late afternoon. The Bills and Broncos, I said that from the beginning, a tremendous football game, back and forth. Unfortunately, now Bo Nix breaks his ankle on the second to last play of the game, and he's going to be out moving forward. And then the controversy, I don't even want to really get into the controversy because I saw that play and I couldn't tell what was going on. So I don't think it's fair to then rip the refs. What I would say is I do agree with McDermott. Somebody's got to take a look at it. And my initial look at it, even though I know if it's a tie, quote unquote tie, the possession goes to the offense, I thought that was more of an interception than I did think that was a catch. So I can't go nuts and say Buffalo got screwed. But I do feel badly for Josh Allen. He wasn't great. They should have beaten the Broncos. They didn't. And, it would have been great to see a rematch with the Bills and Pats, see what the Bills could have done again up in New England. We're not going to get that. And now we get a game with New England going to take on Jared Stidham and the Broncos. And it's hard to believe that that's the AFC Championship game. And obviously that leads to McDermott getting fired. And I was actually surprised. I'm not surprised overall, but I was surprised after their win against the Jags in the wild card round. And then even the way that they lost in that game, I could understand the move. But I was surprised the timing of it because, dude, you had Harbaugh was out there. And now you're going to fire McDermott? Not only Harbaugh, you lost Stefanski. He's off the board as well. So 2 of the hottest coaches in this coaching cycle, and 2 good ones, certainly one great one with Harbaugh, who obviously goes to the Giants. We'll have much more on him for episode 4 tomorrow, as he's going to have his introductory press conference with Big Blue. So we'll get a lot into that. But why would you do that now and not even put any feelers out there for Harbaugh or anything like that, or even Stefanski potentially, as I said? And now you look at the coaches. Are any of those guys that are available? I mean, they're talking about bringing Dable in potentially. Are any of those guys that are available definitively better than McDermott? Sometimes you have to sit back and think, look at the Ravens. Are they really going to find a better head coach than Harbaugh? The answer is no. Although you could say he's been there so long, it was just time for a change. I understand more than anybody the idea of needing to move on from McDermott or from a coach and bring in somebody that could take you to another level. I get that. I just don't like the timing of this. And I guess the point is, if you're going to do it, fine, do it, but bring in a guy who's a known commodity. Like, are they going to hire Mike McCarthy? I mean, maybe there was some smoke with McCarthy and the Titans, so who knows what's going on there. I would assume everybody's priorities would change now that if you have a chance to go work with Josh Allen in Buffalo. I mean, that team's Super Bowl. They're Super Bowl ready. They're begging for somebody to get them over the hump and take them to the Super Bowl. From their perspective, though, I would want somebody who's definitively done it before. And you get rid of McDermott, you lose out on Harbaugh to the Giants. Not too many great options for me. Anyway, so that was the first game. The second game absolutely sucked. And I was dead wrong. I don't know. I got caught up in my, months ago feel. 2 months ago, a month and a half ago, I felt like the Niners were the better team than the Seahawks. And I failed to look at this game for what it was right now. And I still don't believe in Sam Darnold. And then the oblique, there was an issue with that. I thought the injuries were being overplayed a little bit from the Niners' perspective. Right out of the gate, you knew it, the kickoff return. They were a dead team walking San Francisco and could never gain any kind of momentum. They couldn't move the football. Could not move the football. What a dreadful game. There wasn't enough booze in my house on Saturday to be able to get me through that game. Had my friends in this weekend, as I do for divisional round. It was great. We're drinking, betting, and all that stuff. Saturday, no good. And then Sunday, by Sunday, it's like, all right, stop messing around with the props. We couldn't pick a side in the New England game. I thought that game was going to be tight. And, Texans defense very good. CJ Stroud sucks. It was so that game was so bad that you had to think the game wasn't bad. CJ Stroud was so bad that you had to think of Davis Mills. And I know I was paying attention a little bit on social media, people calling for Davis Mills. I don't know what D'Amico Ryans was doing, not going to him there. Like, you could stroke his ego and, oh, it's okay, buddy. Don't worry about it. We'll get him next time. Protect his mentality in the offseason. For now, you got to figure out a way to move the football and try to win that game. And that game could have been there for the taking. And instead, the Patriots back on the high horses. They're back in the AFC Championship game. Vrabel, May, Diggs, the running game, the defense, all of the above. Just a terrific performance from New England. We hate them. Sure, we hate them. I like them better, me personally. I like them better with Belichick and Brady than I do now with Vrabel. Something about Vrabel just annoys me. And the fact that now Drake May is the next Tom Brady, and right away New England's back on top. It's just, that is annoying. I would have liked to see them get beat by Buffalo. I don't know if it's going to happen with Denver, but much more on that game later on. Either way, that wasn't a great game. And then you got to the main event with the Rams and the Bears. And maybe I loved it more so because we won on this. And I love the Rams in that game. Of course, the Bears make it close enough to cover. So if you had the Rams, you lose it. Here's the bet that we made. Because, again, you're making bets all weekend long. It's props here, props there, anytime touchdowns. You're going all over the place, and that stuff can get out of control. Finally, we came together and said, let's limit it. Let's limit it. If we like a guy, let's say DJ Moore, my buddy Saratoga Wills love DJ Moore, take him to go over whatever his catches or yardage are and an anytime TD. Instead of like, let's go this guy TD, let's go this guy receptions and yardage. Just try to simplify. I know it sounds simple, but we were all over the place. But then we simplified. Had a little DJ Moore anytime touchdown, DJ Moore over yardage, check. Early on, right out of the gate, boom. And now you're cooking because that's a hard one. One of my other buddies, Wink, he liked Kyron Williams anytime TD. Okay, a little bit more obvious. And then him over the rushing yards. Check. And then I picked Colby Parkinson, 3 or more catches. I want to go a little bit underdog, under the radar. He had a chance early on, dropped it, whatever. But think of the drama here where we had everything checked off, and I'm pretty sure those were the only 5. And it paid out pretty good. So we needed 1 catch from Parkinson. That was it. And the Bears are down a 4th and whatever it was. And Williams, who again, dude, Caleb Williams, I don't get it. He's not consistent, but he is just unbelievable at times. He's running 20 yards backwards and still completes the touchdown pass to send that game into overtime, which is exactly what I needed. And if you were betting the Rams, obviously it's not a good thing that it went to overtime there. But, with the game-tying touchdown, you're hoping that it falls incomplete. You cover, all is happy. Even though I did have the Rams on a side bet, I wanted the game to go to overtime, hoping to win both. And that touchdown was just incredible. And good for Chicago. Great season. Bears are back, and Bears fans will love it. And Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams, all that stuff. But then, if you saw in overtime, after the interception, which I thought was perfect for me, because if they didn't get that interception, the Rams wouldn't have thrown the football. They were near field goal range, probably just run it, kick the field goal, end of story. So the fact that they do intercept it where they did gave us hope that they would throw at least one more ball to Parkinson. They did. We went nuts, and I couldn't care less what happened after that. That's the life of a gambler and the mindset of a gambler. And it's why sometimes it's not the best thing if you're trying to watch the game in its purest form, because you watch it through a different lens. Instead of me saying, oh, wow, this game is great. And by the way, it was a great game. And I am ultimately happy that the Rams are going. I think that's a great matchup in the NFC championship game now with Seattle and the Rams, a rematch of that. I'm going to be picking the Rams. I don't care what happens the rest of the week. I'm picking the Rams and McVay. I'm not going against him, and I can't get now behind Seattle, even though that was a buzzsaw and a daunting place to play, all those different things. I might go Rams-Broncos still. Don't want a rematch of the Rams-Patriots. Anything that keeps the Patriots out of it. Anyway, great game and good for the Rams to win that football game, but I wasn't looking at it in that perspective at that time. I'm looking at it, get Parkinson a freaking catch. And that's what happens, when you do these wild bets like that. So fun divisional round. And now there are 3 football games left in the 2025 NFL season. So as great of the weekends, the last 2 weekends were, we now have just 3 games left. 2 of them obviously coming up Sunday, Championship Sunday, the bye week, Super Bowl February 8th. That's it. Pitchers and catchers. Get us to pitchers and catchers. Couple more things here before we say goodbye for episode 3. And make sure to download, subscribe, like, rate, whatever those things that you need to do to help me have some success here doing this. I'd appreciate it very, very much. The Phillies are all bent out of shape, huh? The Phillies and their fans are bent out of shape about the Mets stealing Bo Bichette away from them. Here's what I would say to Philadelphia. Get used to it, suckers. You're second place to the Mets. I don't care what the results have been as far as the division goes. Tip the cap to the Phillies. They won the division. That's great. When it comes to the offseason, when it comes to spending resources, there's only one team in Major League Baseball that has gotten the better of the Mets. One. It's not the Yankees. It's not the Phillies. It's not the Braves. It's the freaking Dodgers. We know that. And at some point, the Mets screwed up Diaz. They shouldn't have let the Dodgers get that one, so that's on them. But at some point, the Mets need to flip this script here and surpass the Dodgers too. It may take a while. I don't know how that's going to happen. But as of now, there's only one team that's beaten Steve Cohen when he wants a player, and that's the Dodgers. So the Phillies, people can say, well, the Mets got pushed around by the Dodgers. Yeah, but then the Mets went and pushed around the Phillies. Tough. You don't like it? Try to compete with King Cohen. And that's why I call him King Cohen. Yankees wanted Soto. Nope. He's going to the Mets. I want him. Thank you, King Cohen. I want him. I'll take him. The Phillies wanted Bichette. Nope. King Cohen. I'll take him. Thank you. So if if you want to be mad at anybody, you should be mad at the Dodgers. Don't be mad at the Mets. Be mad at the Dodgers. Because if the Dodgers didn't get Tucker for an absurd $60 million, then maybe the Mets wouldn't have got Bichette. But the Dodgers got Tucker. You should be mad at them. And then the Mets said, okay. Stearns laid the groundwork. Philly fans don't want to believe it. Those knuckleheads on the podcast don't know what they're talking about. Oh, don't they have Vientos and Beatty? Yeah, okay. All right. Guys, you could tell. They might have even said Acuna. Like, those guys aren't getting in the way of Bichette. Was it a clear need on paper? No, but clearly they needed a bat, so it made sense immediately once they got him. Oh, why would they do this? Because they want good players. Tried to get Kyle Tucker, they couldn't. They valued Bichette. And credit for Stearns for thinking about that a while ago. I haven't done the Bichette stuff on the podcast. I did like a instant reaction, but that happened as I was out food. We just recorded, like I'm learning the podcast game here, when to record and when to put it out there and all that stuff. We just recorded the night before, and I'm thinking, all right, well, good. We waited on the Tucker news. Episode 1 was the Harbaugh news. Episode 2 was the Tucker news. And then we put that out there, and then I'm like, all right, let me go food shop. My friends are coming in, and then boom, the Bichette stuff breaks. And I'm like, bada booms, what do we do here? But he's at work. I'm at work, going to work. I'm trying to food, whatever. Anyway, there you have it. So Philly fans are mad at Bichette, and I would say, sucks for you. Be mad at the Dodgers, not the Mets. And warning, King Cohen's only getting going. He's only getting going. Plenty more to come. Remember, he's wanted Soto. He's got him. He wanted Yamamoto. Yamamoto went to the Dodgers. He wanted Tucker. Tucker went to the Dodgers. Wanted Diaz, although they screwed that one up, still went to the Dodgers. Wanted Bichette, got him. Only one team. Show me the team that's beaten the Mets to a player that Steve Cohen has wanted other than the Los Angeles Dodgers. I'm waiting. You can't show me because it doesn't exist. All right, last one here. Let's get Bada Booms in here, him and his crappy mic. Go ahead, Bada Booms. Pop yourself in there. I want to ask you about this because you're young and trendy. It's one of the reasons why we love you and why I wanted to bring you on as my official producer of the Sal Licata Show, and we appreciate your work, hard work so far. Are you familiar with the 2016 trend that's going on social media?
Salvatore Licata, I am not. Can you please enlighten me?
Okay, so first of all, you're familiar with like trends that happen on social media, right?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Are you familiar?
Yeah.
Jeez,
Barely. Well, my point of this is I don't want to be familiar with it. And now I see, I guess some people do it. Like it starts as, 2016, 10 years ago. So show us your pictures. Show us your life that was taking place in 2016. And then it's not just one person. Now it's like everybody that's doing it. Oh, might as well hop in on the trend. Might as well hop in on the trend. And it makes me sick, Bada Booms. I just don't like it. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I'm unhappy with myself. I don't know why it is, but like, I don't think anybody cares about what I was doing in 2016. And guess what? I don't give a shit about what you were doing. Not you, Bada Booms, but like you in general, you out there, what you were doing in 2016. You shouldn't care what I was doing, and I don't care what you were doing. And then just the need of these people to get in and get on the attention, it drives me nuts. I know that might offend some of my friends or people. I don't care. It's just how I feel. And I'm like that with all these trends. I don't want to do it. Where are you at? Are you trendy with that stuff?
I couldn't agree with you anymore. I do have a
Hmm.
question though to pique the interest of the people who don't agree. Did you have hair in 2016, or do you still?
Don't be a.
Oh, excuse me. I didn't know why.
No,
Hey
I'm
now.
just kidding. No, no.
Uh,
Bleep
no,
that
but
out. Bleep that out, by the way. No, no. I did actually, Bada Booms, I'll enlighten you here. I used to actually have a real mushroom, kind of like yours. I had like a mushroom cut that would come all the way down to
yeah.
the sides, but I was like 15. So then once I was 20, I would always have a shaved head. And then I just realized that the hairline was going back and back and back. So really, I've been like this for at least the last 25 years.
Did you have the blonde hairline? Was that what was going on there?
Yeah, I could send you some pictures.
Oh, I'd love to
But
see
I
it.
had, yeah, it was, a little, and my mother would say, "You're not going bald. It's just a high forehead. You just have a high forehead." And I'm like, "Ma, come on."
I saw a great comment actually, and I do want to shout out everybody who was showing love to the show. We got a lot of love, which I appreciate. And my guy Andy on Twitter, who was retweeting us. Shout out to my guy Andy. Seems like a great guy. But I saw a comment that said Bada Booms looks like a Vinny Barbarino version of what's his name? What's the dude? Pulp Fiction. Travolta.
Yeah, John
Yes.
Travolta. Are you
No,
familiar with him?
I said Vinny Barbarino. Of course I
Okay,
am.
yeah, yeah.
I look like Vinny Barbarino, and you look like modern day John Travolta. What do you have to say to that?
Why is he bald now?
Yeah, dude, he looks just like you now.
John Travolta is bald now?
Dude, come
What?
on.
No, I'm serious. I don't recall this. Hold on, I got to check this out.
Have you even seen him
Um,
recently?
I have. I guess I have not. I saw him in that Grease commercial that they were running over Christmas. Have you seen him in Grease?
Of course.
Oh
You want
yeah,
me to
he is
do a
bald.
little you want
He
to do a
looks
little
good. That's a
bit from
compliment.
Greece? Do you want me to?
You got one for us?
Yeah, what song you want?
That was my favorite.
I don't know, but I might have to cut that out.
Your mic sucks.
I know
Okay.
I know the mic sucks. What are you reading the comments here?
No, I do want to open up a mailbag though, so you got to start doing that so we can react to some of the comments
Yes.
and get people involved. So stay on top of that.
Quick
Anything you want
question
to say?
before you
Yeah, yeah,
yes,
yeah.
before you reject me. At around 8 PM on Saturday, did you happen to look up outside? I know you were inside with your boys, but just pondering.
No, no, I did not.
Well, if you looked up outside, it wasn't a bird, it wasn't a plane, it wasn't a rocket ship. You could have seen Superman flying over the city and meeting his kryptonite in Denver, thanks to Bo Nix and Sean Payton. I wanted to get that in there. Superman, my ass.
But oh, there you go, bada booms, big Jet fan. Hey, you know what? Not every day the Jets get a win, so you take them all you can. And obviously a big day. I know you hate the Bills, and you'll be rooting for the Broncos again come Sunday. I'm assuming.
Yeah, speaking of the Bills, I'm talking about something related, and then I'll get out of here after this one. Don't worry about it. I know you're ready to hit the eject button, but I'm really happy for the underdog franchise that resides over in Boston. I mean, how many years they had to endure just pure suffering and bad coach after bad coach and miserable quarterback after miserable quarterback, missed draft pick. Could you be more happy, Sal Licata, for that miserable franchise that calls themselves New England?
What do you think's worse, the Jets or your mic? All right, bada booms. Next time we hear from you, good job as always. We appreciate the hard work. Next time we hear from you, hopefully you have a better setup. Hopefully the stuff gets there in time, and we can do this. Do it again tomorrow.
It definitely will, Salicato. I will say one more thing. I'm
Why
not
do you
finished.
keep Why do you keep saying Sal
No,
Licata?
just
You could call me Sal. Like you keep
I don't
saying
know.
Salvatore Licata, Sal Licata Show. Yeah, we
Is there
get it.
something else I should call you?
No,
Baldy?
I just no. I just want you. Sal is fine. Go ahead. What was your last
Okay.
thing? Come
My bad. I just want to get all the, shout outs to my
on.
guys in here. You talked very negatively on the God Emperor QB in the United States, the Gekubus, if you will, Sam Darnold. When his mother gave birth, she was watching Hey Arnold. Do you want to apologize to the God Emperor quarterback of the USA?
No, are you now? Do you root for Darnold as a Jet fan or no?
I am a huge Darnold believer. I thought they should have, taken Sewell, traded back, gotten Parsons.
I
But
like
I
it.
love Darnold. He went on busting with the boys one time, and he said, that, his downfall in New York was on himself. He put everything on himself, which is completely wrong. It's because they hired that goof Adam Gase and his googly eyes, who also kind of looks like you, Sal. No offense, if you
Mm.
were sniffing the salts like he was on the sideline. Besides the point, I love Darnold. I'm rooting for him, and it also makes Woody Johnson have to go if he is watching football right now. How did I mess that up? How did I? We have this guy who could be in the Super Bowl with one more game, and I messed it up. So I want Woody Johnson to really reflect on that. Thank you
Do
for your time.
you do
Oh,
you write these one liners down or they just come to you in the moment?
no, they come to me in the moment. See, I got the gift of gab and the gift of jab, and I just started hitting the box. But besides that,
You're sick, dude. All right, that's
no,
enough, bada booms.
I didn't mean it like
No,
that in that way. I'm
no,
talking about
no.
punching bag,
Yeah, I know. I figured that.
like
I mean,
Balboa.
oh. I got it. I mean,
I didn't mean it like that, dude. I
I
told
no,
you
no,
no
no, no, no,
more.
no, 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 it's not. I didn't think that you worked out.
No. You want to run a 30?
No, I'm just.
You got a wife and kids. You have more to lose than me. I don't want to run a 30 with you, Sal. Come on.
You had a torn ACL. You don't think I could beat you in a 30?
Dude, I got you, bro. I'm built like a grizzly bear. They send me
All
to
right.
Dagestan in 2, 3 years. I'll come back different.
All right, I can't take your mic anymore. It's not you. You're great. It's the mic that sucks. Plus, we got to go. All right, Bada Booms, excellent job as always. We'll talk to you again tomorrow. And for the listeners and viewers here on YouTube, we appreciate you checking in. Subscribe, or is it right there? Maybe it's there. Subscribe, like, comment. We are going to get working some different segments and hear from listeners, whether it's email, comment. We have an email, the Sal Licata Show at gmail.com. Hit us up there with anything. Appreciate you checking us out. Be back again tomorrow. The plan is every day, Monday through Friday, you'll have an episode right in your inbox there if you download the podcast on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts, or on YouTube. So that's the plan. An episode just like we would do a normal show, 5 days a week. All right, we'll see you later. Bye.